Welcome back, Hope Dealers. You already know what time it is. It's time to deal hope. I am your host, Kristin Greer, and welcome to the hashtag Hope Dealers show. Well, everybody, today I brought a very, very special guest today, and I am so glad to introduce you to this amazing woman, this hope dealer of her own, my sister, Stefanee Greer. Hey, Stefanee, welcome to the show. I am so glad you are here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, if you all remember a couple of episodes ago, I had my nephew, Pierre Johnson Jr. on the show, and Stefanee is Pierre's mom. Stefanee, PJ rocked the world away. Wow.
He rocks us every day. Every day.
He is just intelligent, and honestly, you should take all the credit as a mom and as his mom and as not just a mom. I brought you on today to talk to parents, but also you're an educator. So before we get into all of that, you know, you're my sister, and so we've had amazing parents and amazing upbringing, and also we have a brother. And so all three of us are in education. So why don't you just tell me and our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. Hi. So I am an educator, as my sister stated previously, but I dabble in different forms of education. I have taught coding. I have taught art.
Mm-hmm.
Now recently I am moving forward more into a dance teacher role, but I've always taught dance throughout, I would say, since I was 8, 7.
Yeah.
So that has been my passion role, but now it's developed into my career role as well.
That's incredible. Now, I can attest to that because although Stefanee doesn't like me to say this, but I am the older sister, so she is like my baby sister in my mind. But when I was younger, Steph, you taught me. So you've probably been a teacher since you was 6, 7, years old. You actually taught me how to dance. And I will never forget that moment of I could not get a beat to save my life. My claps were off. But my sister Stefanee, we call her Steffi, everybody. She taught me how to dance. So it's not surprising. We always knew that you were going to be the teacher and an educator in the family. So talk to us a little bit about what has it been like to put teaching aside just to parent during COVID-19?
Okay, so when we first found out that we were going to be quarantined for about 2 weeks, I knew that it probably was going to be longer.
Mm-hmm.
When they first decided to quarantine us for 2 weeks, and we were going to be off from school and the kids were going to be off for 2 weeks, didn't have anything in place.
Right.
So me being an educator, I went ahead and did some research, and I was excited at first. I was like, okay, finally get this break that we needed. I can spend a little bit more quality time with my son, which I have to do, and I am grateful for that. I went ahead and I was amped up and excited, went ahead and created this extensive plan Monday through Friday. Every single minute was allocated for him to do something in regards to e-learning. So before his teachers out, I had already set up a plan. So I was for the first week and a half, honestly, I would say the first week.
Yeah.
On it. Okay. We were on it, and it was great because it was pushing me to get up and be up early and just not kind of lay around.
Right.
Get things done as I would usually do if I was going into work every morning. Then the next week, his teacher sent an even more extensive plan. But she sent an even more extensive plan, and she was super, super thorough. She is thorough all the time. And so he started to do her plan, and then the excitement kind of wore off. I would say about I'm not even front, the second and a half, third week. And it was just like, okay, we're really going to sit in this house. I'm going to have to do this. And he was kind of getting frustrated. And so I was trying to find that balance of still, because I'm an educator, I know like you need to get that work done. But at the same time, like I know that this can all be, I don't want to say traumatizing,
Yeah.
be some form of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if it's breaking your routine and you're used to doing something a certain way. And now it's like, okay, this is your new normal. And it's being slowly transitioning to it, we were like thrown. And so I started to give him grace in terms of like him not completing work at a certain deadline. So I started to give him grace as long as he completed it at some time at the end of that week. So, and like I said, it started up high because I was like, yes, I need the break. Then it started to go down like, okay, what's really going on? So overall, it's been a learning journey for us.
And it's funny because like you're an educator, but I think, you know, you start off like, we're going to have structure. You're going to do what you need to do. But also you had to work and you had to leave school. Yes. And I think what's interesting for parents, you said it kind of started off high and then it was just like, you like, okay, this is a lot for a kid. How important is it for a parent to not put that level of pressure? You're absolutely right. We're in a traumatic experience, especially for children. How important would you say it is for parents to like kind of like ease the pressure a bit on their children during this pandemic?
I would say is first of all, it's super important for that parent to know their child. Children, if you have more than one, you have to know the personality of your child.
Okay.
So it really is case by case, or it depends on your situation. Some children have already had that. Some kids are really already strict about their grades and their work. So being on that schedule might not even faze them because they like doing that in their free spare time. And then you have some children that may be in the middle. Okay. My son is in the middle. He's serious. He wants he wants to be on the honor roll. He does want straight A's, but he aims to be on the honor roll. But at the same time, he also is a kid that likes to play his video games. So he was in between. And so when I saw those, triggers happening for him and his emotions changing, I was like, okay, I can't just expect him to be this scholar when he was, he was a more balanced scholar. And then if you have a scholar that is struggling and just not really interested in education at all, it is up to the parent. It is up to you, especially if you were at home and you had the time. It is up to you to like instill those values the best way that you can. And Google and everything is so much, there's so much resources available to us now in this century that are free for us. If we don't have the answers, you can Google it, you can YouTube it. So if that parent has the time to figure out a plan for that scholar, it starts at home.
Right.
Child is not really interested in that. Like it's up to you to figure out how can you, put it in everyday activities or maybe chores or whatever. It is up to that parent to pretty much figure out what schedule works for them. So like I said, it depends. Okay. So know your child, know what they can bear, what they can take, and what also you can take at the same time. But a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And a lot of forgiveness and admitting your mistakes and maybe making some errors, because like I said, this is all new. Not only the scholar, but it's also to your child. Keep saying scholar,
right.
But it's also new to you. So no one is expecting anyone to be 100% when this is all new information.
Exactly. And I think that's so important, right? I mean, I know when I was teaching, you remember probably me telling you stories of parents like, I know my child. And it's so funny because I think that education is a partnership between the parent and the school, right? I think you cannot do the work without. And so sometimes some students are not, they don't have parents that are as supportive in their lives, or maybe the parents' workload is a bit taxing. And so sometimes the school has to take more of that load, or vice versa, right? And so on social media, I got the opportunity to see a lot of comments. I'm sure you saw them too. Like, teachers, come get your children. What did you learn that you didn't know? Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say those same parents that complain about these single things, especially in Chicago, when they were striking. I saw some parents were in agreement, but it was like, y'all need to get back in school with these kids. Y'all need that much money. It's like, but now you see.
So that's what I want to go to.
You only have your child or children with you.
Yeah.
And you deal with, see, for me, I had to know the personalities of over 500 scholars.
Wow.
An elective teacher.
Wow.
So I had to know their names. I had to know their triggers and their personalities. So you're at home with just the ones that you birthed and you've been with since day one. And it's been crazy. So just imagine how it is emotionally for us educators to come in every day now. And on top of dealing what we deal with at home and bringing in, don't even add the fact that if we have children of our own.
Right.
Oh,
right.
So interesting to see, like, oh, everybody's switching up now.
And I think, I think I've seen that for a while now. Like, I mean, once you go into the classroom, you know that, and just even as a kid, right? Parents may think they know their children to a degree, but it's a different story. Like, you may know some of the virtues that you know, the morals, that kind of thing. But when you get a secret camera in that classroom, you will be surprised. So what are some of the things, good, bad, or indifferent, that you discovered just as a parent about your child's learning and how he interacts socially in the classroom, virtually?
Well, because I am an educator, I am not one of those parents that are like, I know my child, he doesn't do this, because I'm a realist. I understand. Now, if there was some information brought to me that was completely out of his character,
right,
that he had done several times, and that would be like, okay, well, I need to figure out where this is coming from. Not necessarily pointing the finger at the educator or the teacher. And in some cases, there are some educators that do not have the passion. We're not educators. We're talking about the ones that do the work, do care. So one of the things that I know that he always struggled with is not being focused, in the sense of he likes to talk. And so that has followed him from pre-K, before, when he was in Montessori school, when he was in daycare, and then pre-K, and then kindergarten, and first and second. So everybody has said this at some point, and he has had about 4 teachers. So 4 teachers can't be, can't be coming up with this because they don't know. So
my sweet nephew.
Right. So, but that was my problem, though. That was my problem in school all the way. Like,
all of us.
Our grades were perfect, but when it came down to that checking system, too much. I was consistent. You can count on me for checking it out. And then I believe, like my sister, brother were, and going up and further. So it was like one of those, situations. Well, yeah, I'm going to discipline you. It's kind of inherited, right? So, but one of the things that I learned that was really positive is that he is he's determined to like figure it out, right? Like, things like dissect what he can't get right away. So if I was to say a word to him, a big word to him, he would be like, okay, what does that word mean? He wouldn't take it and just act like he knew or whatever. And then I would have to explain it to him, or I would have to pull up a video, or sometimes I would have to think like, okay, well, before I answer this question, let me give you the Webster's dictionary version, and I'll pull it up. We'll look at it together. So that's one thing he will not fake what he does not know.
That's good.
Yeah, he is a seeker of the truth. So if he hears us having conversations or saying anything, he's like, okay, I need to know how this was made. What do you mean by this word? So me being an educator, okay, I'm going to give you a video. I'm going to give you auditory, kinesthetic. I'm going to give you every way so that you can grasp it, so that I can learn how you learn. Right. So what I've already known was he talked. So when it was time to do that work, it was, Mom, can I get some fruit snacks? I can get that. But when he was diving deep into his work, it was, okay, I'm really struggling with this. Can you break it? So,
yeah.
those are the pros and cons.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, I think it sounds like there was a learning exchange happening on both ends, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a child being exposed to their parent, like,
Yep.
oh, they know what I do, you know what I mean? Whether that's,
I'd be like, get to the room.
get back get back online. But I think also I love that you kind of talked about how you had to develop a plan, and even though that plan might have been really structured, it was difficult in the beginning for both. Well, not in the beginning, but over time for both you and PJ to keep up with that. You also mentioned just like, and I want to go back to that in a moment, but I love how you said that your son is a problem solver
Mm-hmm.
because you mentioned that he went to a Montessori school, which is a type of school where experiential learning is valued. And so, do you think that that has anything to do with, like, because he went as a young child, do you think that has anything to do with him being such a problem solver and a seeker of the truth?
Yes, I definitely agree. Like, so it all goes back to what I said at the beginning. As a parent, you have to know your child, so even when he was a baby, and some people might be thinking, oh, you're being facetious, but even when he was a baby,
Uh-huh.
I knew he was different. I knew he learned differently. He was talking and saying 3-syllable words
Mm-hmm.
raw. So I knew that I could put him into an average, ordinary setting atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I researched, and it actually was my mom that was just like, she's always she's always a problem solver as well. So that's where
Right.
it comes
Our
down.
mom, just so you
Our
know.
mom, our mom, sorry. So she was just like, you should look into this. And I'm like, okay, I'll look. So I started doing my research, and that was honestly, let me tell you something. Potty training boys are, so I was trying, and then for a while, and it was just not working. And so when he enrolled into Montessori school, when I tell you all, he was potty trained by the third day.
Wow.
And I do understand that it's like being in that school setting, and it could have been any place. But I think that, and I believe that it was with the help of me and them. He came back on the third day with the same clothes. I was
Right.
like, what's going on? And like, my son has never had like accidents or ever since then. Like, he's been fully,
Wow.
no setbacks. So, and then on top of that, like the Montessori schooling system, they teach, like you said, problem solving. Like, so, and I
Yeah.
love it. It's like it's independent teaching. You're on your own. So
Mm-hmm.
they have these things that they can do that pretty much asks them the question,
Mm-hmm.
also gives them other answers, but also has the answers in the same thing. So
Wow.
working on like some type of shape, device or whatever, or manipulative, and that's the question. He doesn't even know it's a question there because he can't
Yeah.
even whatever like that, but that's the question. And then they have all these other answers, and then they have the answer. And instead of the teacher that's crowding over him and you got it, you understand, he's over there figuring it out on his own, going through the trial and error. So because of that foundation, yes,
Mm-hmm.
helped him develop into who he is
Right.
as a
Right.
learner today.
Right. And he sounds like he's gotten it from you as well, because, just talking about how you created this schedule in the pandemic for him, like you figured it out as well, like how to keep him engaged, how to keep fun. And I'm going to display that schedule if it's okay with you. Can I display that for our listeners and our viewers on YouTube and on Facebook Live? Because this schedule is really great. But I want to know, we're going back, right? Many schools are not going to be physically in the building. And I know where you're teaching, you're not going to be in the building either. So what advice, or how would you encourage parents who are going to be at home, who maybe their job is also remote and their children are going to be working remotely? What advice for school-aged children, for parents of school-aged children, do you have?
I would just say, like I said before, like give yourself time.
Right.
Even though we've kind of been doing this for a couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
still, it's still fresh. It's still an uncertainty. There's so many thoughts that are going on, and just trial and error.
Right.
Trial and error. You might, like I said, I started did that extensive plan, and then it was like we didn't even go with that anymore, and we went with the teacher's plan, and then we did something different. So it's okay. Like, you might have stayed up all night figuring out a plan and it didn't work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
okay. Like, go back to the drawing board. It is okay. It doesn't mean that what you came up with wasn't substantial. It just means that it does not fit into you all's everyday schedule. And I would just say, just keep your family covered, just however you cover them, and just also have that balance, because at the same time, like I said,
right,
you can be stifled. The mind can be stifled. It can be tired. It can be whatever. So like here, we have several board games. We have several puzzles. We have books. It's like so many different things that if he gets bored or he's stagnated from something, he knows that, okay, we can pull out a puzzle or sit in color together. Yeah. It's be as simple as that. So I would say, have a great balance at the end of the day. And like I said, they still have to pass to the next grade, right? You don't want your child to come back and be lower than they came before or they were when they left. But you have to figure out your balance, your schedule, trial and error. Keep going back if you need to. It's okay. Keep starting over. Start over every day.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, really good. I think, a lot of families are probably just like trying to figure out what to do. And I think you gave some really strong advice to parents going into this year. Like, we want to encourage you parents and give you hope. Like, we are in this together. And I hope that your schools that are, you can advocate for yourself and for your schools to say, I'm going to need this, or this is what I need. I know just as a school leader, I'm encouraging my families to meet with us, once a week, just to address some of the concerns that are coming into play. But, safety is important. My question, though, it's going to be a little controversial, Stefanee, so I hope you're ready for this. Who is responsible for any learning lost in this period? Who is responsible? Like, is it the parents' responsibility to make sure that their child does not lose learning and there's no learning gaps, or is it on the school?
No one. I don't think anyone is responsible. We didn't, this is a pandemic, This is a global issue.
Right.
So learning is not being lost in your household, just in your household, or just down the street, or just in your child's school, or just in Chicago, or just in Illinois, or just in the United States. Learning is being lost all over. However that looks, learning is being lost. And it is best not to put the blame on yourself or the school system. Now, granted, being a parent, I can see myself saying, well, they should have been prepared and planned, and I definitely agree to a certain extent in the sense of just because of the day and age that we are in now. But other people, unfortunately, this has opened a lot of people's eyes, just period, overall. Like these big banks, everybody has learned a lesson. Lessons has been lost. L's have been like all type of entities. Yeah. So that's not to put the blame on yourself or the school system. Now, moving forward, if you're noticing your school system doesn't have anything different, they're not changing up what they're doing. They saw that didn't work, and then they're still giving the same thing. Then you can, like you said, advocate for yourself or your child, and then speak out if that teacher is not giving you that feedback. Then you can kind of, say something different. But honestly, I can't really see anyone being at fault for it.
Right.
The parent, I definitely wouldn't fault the parent at all, because we got some parents that struggle.
Yeah.
Today.
Right.
Simple things, and they somehow made it through by the grace. That's not their area. That's not their field. If it was their field to be a teacher and an educator, they would be.
Right.
That's not what they do. So we can't, we can't put it on the parent either.
Right. That's true.
Do what they know best.
So, I love that you said earlier, give grace, right? And I think even going into this school year, I think that should be everybody's mantra. That might even be my school's thing, because it's like, For the student, give grace. For the staff members, the educators, give grace. For the families, give grace. Because just because you're at home does not necessarily mean that you are doing well, and whether that's physically, or mentally.
Mentally,
And
yep.
so, we try to just like bring hope on this show and encourage. This is the time to not take an L. How do you not take an L? You become an innovator. You become, a decision maker in education and in your child's future. And this is how you can do it. Stefanee gave a lot of great tips, but I would love for you to kind of talk. Stefanee, she teaches all kinds of art classes. And last year you did something really cool where you took your iPad and you began to do a lesson like visually, and you put it up on YouTube for your students. I thought it was fascinating because it allowed them to like see. Can you talk a little bit about what you did and then any tips you have for arts education?
Okay. Yeah. So I just took the iPad and I was gifted an iPad pencil. And
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the pencil just connects to the iPad and I'm able to draw and color just from using the pencil. So like drawing directly on the screen.
All right.
So what I would do was I would draw, say for instance, I had two different levels of art. I had the primary, I had a little bit more advanced for my third through fifth graders, and K through second was a little bit more it was easier art, more easier art. So I would do like, say for instance, I would draw a bear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would draw a bear and I would just walk through it.
Mm-hmm.
Just draw it and just take my time, and then I will go ahead and of course it's some back pieces to it. I had to record video, like voice record over it, and
Right.
add music, and then add extra, at the end when I edit it. But they were able to watch it from YouTube. I uploaded it to a private, page, and then they watched it. They went through it with me, and then they submitted it on our app that we were using. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of scholars and parents were like looking for it every week.
Wow.
And then I had parents who did it with their children.
Oh, that's cool.
Time to exhale, and they were looking for it, and it was just great. And it just goes into like I said,
Therapy too. Therapy too.
It's definitely therapy. Art is definitely therapy. Anytime that I'm feeling any kind of crazy way, I can do. Thank God, I can do either dance, or I can do just painting or drawing.
Anything.
Yep.
She's literally gifted to do anything, everybody. I've seen her do everything. She can sing, dance, act, art, all of it. But listen, Stefanee, I want to know, what ways do you want to inspire hope for parents and even maybe educators and even students right now? What would you say is your final thoughts?
I would just say, as my final thought, and this has been resonating on my spirit just for the last couple of days, just do it. Just do it. However that looks for you. It goes back to no one has a straight A and a top parent, or I always revisit my parenting skills all the time. And people who know me closely, I always dissect and walk through. You think I did this right or said this right? So no one has, just the blueprint to figure out who's the best educator or who's the best parent, or how have you just do it, after you've done all your research or whatever you can to your ability, just do something. Do not just let time pass you by, because when you turn around, that's one thing that you cannot get back. So spend this time, parents. I know it can be frustrating, but spend this time in developing better relationships with your children, or just figuring out things that you might not have known before. You might have older children, younger children you might not have recognized before because of your daily everyday hustle and bustle. But just spend that time, take your time, appreciate, stay in the moment, be in the moment, get creative, find different ways to do things to make you all happy and to enjoy each other's time, and just do it. Whatever it is, just do it, get it done. And you will be rewarded at the end for whatever it is that you're seeking or trying to achieve.
That's excellent, Stefanee. I love that. Just do it. Parents, just do it. Students, just do it. Educators, just do it. Stefanee, this has been fascinating. I'm so glad to have you on this show. You are my favorite, and you're doing an excellent job as a mother and also an educator. So, what are you currently working on, and where can people find you?
Okay, so I am not only am I an educator, I am an entrepreneur, and I have two businesses that I am currently running. The business that I've been doing for years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a choreographer, and I have a school of dance, and so pretty much it's just me having contracts with different schools where I would send people to teach dance in the before school session or after school session.
Okay.
Different contracts with different schools in the city of Chicago.
Wow.
It's called Camille School of Dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have a link on Facebook, but that's something kind of that I do behind the scenes. I don't really broadcast that, but that's something that happens behind the scene. And then the most recent business venture that I that I decided to just do and finally do it was during COVID. We launched May 30th.
Wow.
My hair care growth products, and the name of that business is called Healthy Crown Hair.
Nice.
That is healthycrownhair.com. And pretty much this is just from me doing years and years of research and just figuring out what ingredients go together to create the best results, to produce the best results, to see thicker, fuller, and healthier hair. And I just launched that on May 30th, and I've received so many great reviews. I'm just so grateful and thankful to God for it. So those are my two that I juggle as well. And you know, when you're passionate about what you do, it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
It's just me doing my task. So when I teach dance, it's easy. When I'm my products and I'm seeing the reviews, it warms my heart to see and hear that people are actually achieving those results with their hair. So it doesn't feel like a job for me.
Well, Stefanee, I hope you, PJ, and all the students you're going to be teaching have an excellent year. I know they're going to be so excited to get with you. You are a mom, an entrepreneur, you're an educator, you're doing it all across the city of Chicago, and I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being a modern day hope dealer.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you all. Chris.
You're welcome. So, Hope Dealers, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. This is episode number 4. Actually, it's episode number 5. And today's feature was Stefanee Greer, my little sister, who I'm so proud of, doing amazing things as a mom. This message is for parents. Hope you took that in, what Stefanee said. Really give yourself grace. Give your children grace. Give the schools grace. Just do it. Let's all work together this time for this upcoming school year, whether you're virtual, whether your students have to go a couple of days or not. Let's work together for safety and for the sake of our children. Listen, this is another Hope Dealer show, and you already know. Be the hope that you wish to see in the world. I'm your host, Kristin Greer, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, Hope Dealers.